Welcome to Act 3 of Extra Time. I'm Greg Lawless alongside Shep Messing and Jason, the producer. Act 3, capital gains. We're talking about the Chicago Fire traveling down to DC United, where United making a move in the East. These are the top two teams in the conference. And considering that 2 months ago, DC looked like they might be headed for the trash heap almost, right? They're now in second place in the East and challenging, aren't they? Yeah,
this is a great game. There's always a game that I'd want to pay to go see. This would be it for the weekend. Yeah. Because I think Chicago, they have Blanco back, and I think he makes a huge difference in their team. They play better on the road. A little bit inexplicable, but Chicago a much better road team. And DC United, so many good players on the ball. Tommy Sohn finally decided on a goalkeeper, so should be a good game.
Josh Wicks in the goal for DC. But you brought up Chicago doing well on the road. Now, they are actually having lost 2 games in a row now and haven't scored any goals in those 2 games either, which is a concern. Now, Jason, I know you're going to bring up Blanco wasn't there, and that makes a difference. But is this a Chicago team that's but is this a Chicago team that has some confidence problems?
I don't think so, and especially not on the road. I think for some reason when they get out of Toyota Park, that's the only thing that slows Chicago's offense. I think one thing I'm curious about is, are they going to play Rolf up top or are they play Nyako up top with McBride now that Blanco's back in there?
Who would you rather see up there?
I would...
Rolf.
I'll tell you what. There was one play in that Houston game where Nyako made a move on the outside and beat a guy on the dribble and passed it off to Rolf, and Rolf made a great guy on a move, great move on a guy. It's exciting to have them out there, but Papa as well. I feel like Chicago's got a ton of weapons. They need to find a way to use them and get them all out on the field.
Well, let's talk about DC a little bit and what they can do. I mean, obviously you've got Christian Gomez in there, and he can do his thing. Jaime Moreno can score, and Emilio knows how to score. How do they counter Chicago? They are 3-0-4 at home, haven't lost a game, and they're playing pretty well these days.
Yeah, what DC United has done so well always, and kudos to Tommy Sohn for turning it around this season. They're so good in the middle of the field that they're going to make it difficult for Chicago. He also has players in Pontius and Wallace that have made immediate contributions.
A couple of rookies that have done very well, yeah.
You talked about the stable of veteran stars, Jaime Moreno and Christian Gomez and Emilio and Fred. So
not only that, but they've been able to rest some of these guys, and they've been able to, they've been able to play them for a half and still win the game or still get the result.
And that goes back to the contributions they're getting from the rookies like Pontius, and even Santino Quaranta is having arguably his best season ever.
Right. And Silu, I mean, they have plenty of guys. Another team where you talk about depth, I think we did mention them at least, but this is a team where they're using their whole roster. They have guys fresh, so whether they beat Chicago in this game or not, through the stretch of the season, things are looking good for them.
Well, if they do beat Chicago, DC United actually goes to the top of the Eastern Conference. Hard to believe considering about a month and a half ago, we were thinking that Tommy Sohn might not have a job anymore. So congratulations to him on that and getting them into there. Now, another team that's starting to show something, the Los Angeles Galaxy. They're on a 10-game unbeaten streak. Now, of course, that only includes 2 wins. 5 draws in a row, and then they finally got the win up in Toronto this past weekend. And they are welcoming Real Salt Lake to the Home Depot Center. How does this one shake out, Jason? We've got an LA team that's doing well, and RSL really needs to get some results right now.
I'm just not sure how well LA has been doing. If you were to just tell me my team won 2 games out of our last 10, I don't think I'd be happy.
If I told you they had not lost in 10 games, what would you say?
See, that's a different way to put it. So I'm
half
not
full
super
or half
confident.
empty, man. Half full or half empty.
I'll tell you what, their defense, the difference between their defense this year and their defense last year is huge. And that's why they are tying the games, because their defense is holding teams to 1 goal a game. I think that makes a big difference. Their offense is a little bit of a struggle to me.
I thought that the Galaxy would do well because of Bruce Arena. And when you have to revamp a team, you always start at the back. Donovan Ricketts has been unbelievable in goal. Could be an MVP type of season. He's really solidified the defense. So is the issue scoring goals? Absolutely, but they have a healthy Edson Buttle.
Which makes a big difference, big difference.
Yeah, they'll be missing Landon Donovan. But they have the blonde English guy coming back in a month or so.
Yeah, you compare it to San Jose last year, who at the beginning of the season they had this good defense, but they couldn't really do it offensively. They couldn't get anything out of it. They got Huckerby, and all of a sudden there was an offensive spark. and they were a team that was pushing for the playoffs.
Let's also give some credit to Alan Gordon, who's actually been doing pretty well up top. You know, he's getting some goals. It might not be pretty, but he's doing the job right now for them without Landon Donovan. He's in there and doing okay. Now, on the other side, you have Real Salt Lake, who just can't seem to score goals at all right now, and they need to do something to get back into this, don't they?
I think you got to figure out something to do with Movsisyan and Finley. Either they're just not complementing each other. We talked about how Ching and Kamara were similar players, but somehow they complemented each other. I think Finley has the speed. Movsisyan actually has speed too, but they're different kinds of players, and they're just not really working as a pairing. It's almost like one over the other would be better.
Yeah, I think you're right, but my point of view on Salt Lake is that creativity has to come out of the midfield. I think that's where they've been lacking in terms of dominating a game, and uncharacteristically they've been making some mental mistakes, uncharacteristic for a Jason Christ team. So it's getting a little bit scary if you're a Salt Lake. In the Galaxy, not a team you want to go play now.
They get Beckerman and Morales back this weekend though, which will be big for them.
That is huge. Now Real Salt Lake needs to get some results because they're teetering on the precipice of maybe falling into that cellar and out of the playoff picture, if you will. Los Angeles starting to play well, and they're at home at the Home Depot Center against RSL. That's all we have for you this week on Extra Time, but you can email us any questions or comments at extratime@mlsnet.com.
And Greg, look for me on Twitter, Jason ET Producer. Keep you in the loop on what's going on with the show.
And we're going to South Africa, so good trip.
I got to get Greg on Twitter.
I'm going to have to Twitter through you from South Africa.
What's Twitter?
Join these guys next week for Extra Time, and we'll kick it around.